Hello, Anna. Welcome back to Body Beyond the Scales, the podcast that helps you get stronger and more confident in your body through building better habits. Today, I'm joined by Emma, who I've been working with for just over a year now. And we're going to be talking through her journey to losing weight and now shifting into that maintenance mode. So, Emma, without further ado, do you want to give us a quick introduction? Who are you?
Yeah, sure. I'm Emma. I've been working with Holly for just over a year. I am originally from the UK, born in Liverpool, lived in the Wirral though for I think from when I was about 2 or something until 14, then moved to Surrey and then moved to Australia.
Yeah, you've not got a Wirral accent, you know?
No, not a little bit, no Liverpool accent, no Surrey accent for that matter either, I don't think anymore. I'm just Australian now. Um, yeah, so I lived in Brisbane for most of the time I've been over here, but my husband and I moved over to Western Australia with our kids 4 years ago. Oh, yeah, 4 years ago. There we go.
Oh,
And Western Australia is now home. So
amazing.
yeah, but in terms of like how I found you, like my who am I in that context? So I do you want me to go there now, or do you want to?
Yeah, no, let's go for
Yeah.
it. Tell us a little bit about, I guess, where you were. Let's go August last year, because we started working together in September last year. So what was
We
life
did.
like in August last year?
Yeah. So in August last year, I was doing Pilates through an app subscription that I've got 4 to 5 days a week, which I was really enjoying doing because I had injured myself in CrossFit again. I've done CrossFit 3 times now and injured myself each time. So I was CrossFit, my body doesn't love CrossFit. I love it. My body doesn't.
Yeah.
So I was doing Pilates, but I was finding I wasn't quite getting, it wasn't enough. And I could actually start to feel an itch where I wanted some more training. But I did, I was a finalist at an awards thing for work. And so I got flown to Sydney and it was great, couple of days and, getting dressed up, going to this awards night. When I got back, and I had nothing to wear either, a gorgeous colleague of mine lent me a number of dresses and fortunately I was able to find something to wear, but I didn't feel amazing. And when I got back, I just felt like I'd not eaten the best for a few days. I'd been inactive. I hadn't done my Pilates at all. And I'd been following you for a little bit because of Kate's results, Kate is my stepsister. And I've been following along, seeing what she'd been done. And it was just like the enough is enough. And it wasn't even a, damn it, I've got to do this right now. It was just a, yeah, let time to do it. It was a resignation kind of thing. And so because I've had a very funny, I don't want to say funny, I was not active in high school. When I went to university, though, I joined a gym and I fell in love with group fitness classes. And I became a body step instructor, and then I was a body combat instructor and a body jam instructor. And there was a period of time when I was doing all of the classes. I did a challenge through Good Life at 1.2, one of their 12-week challenges. I lost a load of weight. And then I had kids. I went back to teaching when I first had my daughter, but I was trying to work full time, had a 6-month-old and teach classes, and it was too much. And then I fell pregnant with my son. And then after having him, I never got back into the flow again, which is one of the times, the second time I went back to CrossFit. And so I've just been on this rocky journey, I guess, trying to find what rhythm and routine works for me. Moving to WA, like I started to get a bit of a routine when we lived on the Gold Coast, but then we moved to WA and I lost it all again. And I just wasn't able to get back into it. And that's where you came in.
I think you highlighted some really important things there, because moving locations, whether that is moving house, whether that is moving like from one side of the country to the other side of the country, is such a upheaval on your routine that it can be really hard to, like, even if you've been in good practices and good habits in the first instance, being in a brand new environment can just really throw those routines off. So the fact that you were like, okay, well, I'm now out of routine, like, and then it was to build that routine back up again, I think is so important to highlight. And that's a super normal thing to happen. So if you have like moved house, you've moved like countries, you've moved whatever, like, just if you are going, well, I was doing this before and I'm not doing this now, don't beat yourself up about it. Like, that is a normal part of like life, is that when you move environments, that not every habit sticks as per that environment. So you have to rebuild routines back in again. And I love that you said as well, like, you're no stranger to exercise. You've done exercise for quite a long period of your life. And it wasn't as if you were like not exercising when we started working together, but we had the conversation about having to work smarter, not harder. We said for you, like, it wasn't the case that you weren't working out. You was working out 4 to 5 times a week. Like it wasn't a case of, you're not moving your body. It was a, how do we actually make sure that when you're putting the effort into doing a half an hour workout, a 45-minute workout, an hour workout, can we make that the most efficient use of the time? And that's where like strength training came in for you, and actually going, well, we want to start lifting weights. And I guess that was something that you'd never done before, in the sense of like, you'd obviously done it in CrossFit, but that's still very, CrossFit is very much a group exercise class with some heavy weights and an injury waiting to happen, in my opinion. But like, I mean, you might be living proof of that. But
Yes.
yeah, like in terms of like the lifting weights, what experience did you have other than the CrossFit, or was that literally it?
So when I did the Good Life 12-week challenge, I was doing 2 PT sessions a week for that 12 weeks. So I had that. But this was in 2012. So
Yeah.
that was a very long time ago. I really enjoyed doing that, but I was doing it around teaching 4 classes a week too. So it was great, but it was it didn't feel the same as how what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And we didn't use the machines when I think back to it. My PT, in fact, he's the one who introduced me to CrossFit. So he would tailor his PT sessions to be similar in some respects to how WODs would eventually like become.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never did any of the machines with him other than the leg press. That's the only one I can recall, which is interesting. So yeah, training with you has been very, very different. I've had app subscriptions before, like Tammy Fitness, for example. I did her booty workout at home using weights. I've done other little mini workouts that all at home though, never in a gym environment. So I wasn't a stranger to it, but I don't know, just all different to
Yeah.
this experience.
For sure. And actually, on that note, I'd like to kind of say as well, we started off with you just doing home workouts. Like, we didn't start
Yeah.
off with like, right, let's go into the gym. Because I think it's important to mention here that whilst you might have had an active lifestyle before, nowadays you don't have the same lifestyle. You are no longer teaching step classes. You are now working very much a, well, 9 to 5, but you do funkier hours. And but like, you are doing a very sedentary job on that day to day.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Go ahead.
I was just, yeah, you're spot on, because that's how I got my steps in, and how I got that calorie boost burn, like doing a body combat class. Well, the app would, or the watch would track 500 calories and a whole chunk of steps. Whereas now it's like, I don't have that. I haven't had that for a long time. And so it's working out, how do I get enough activity in for the little human that I am so that I can actually eat.
For sure, for sure. And like, that's something as well that's really important to mention here, that like people of different body sizes will have different calorie demands. And
Yeah.
as Emma pointed out, Emma is like, you're like what, 5'2", 5'3"?
I don't know. And that you
Oh,
talk the
give
weird
me it in
system.
centimeters.
154 centimeters.
Yeah, you're about
Whatever
five
that
one,
is.
5'2". Yeah,
Okay.
short queen. But
Yes. Yes. Shorty.
so like, with that being said, like when you then lose weight, you're on then fewer calories. So that has been a conversation that we've been having around maintenance is, well, what activity can you keep within your life, especially within steps, to keep things high so that you can actually eat a decent amount of food on a day-to-day basis? And one thing that I think is really important is when you are making these changes for the long run, you want to make sure that it's stuff that you can actually sustain, because if we want to keep it off, we need to be able to do the behaviors to keep it off, and that involves activity. So if you're not planning on keeping like walking daily in your life, then maybe don't start off with that. But I mean, if you're not keeping walking daily in your life, then I think we need to be having a different conversation. But
Yeah, I think so.
yes. But like, if you can just make sure that you are like, it, starting with the end in mind, it makes such a huge difference. So yeah, let's go back to that kind of like that start point. You were like, I'm not feeling right in myself. Like, I know I can be making some changes, and we were really focusing on working smarter, not harder. What were the first few changes that we kind of like put in place that you were like, oh, this is actually making a difference compared to what you were doing, say, in the months before?
Yeah. So the regular daily step goal, like I was mindful of steps and I knew that. But when we first started, I remember saying to you, like, some days I can do 12,000 and then it's like 6. And I was pushing it too hard without adjusting or adapting first. So one of the key things is we put me on, I think it was 8,000 to start with. And I was only there for like a week or two, but it was to build that consistency. And it was that like that habit. That one was massive. The two, you took the pressure off training for me too. So we worked in with what I was already doing, which I think was, we took away 2 of the Pilates and made them the 2 weight sessions. And then I had the other 3. And that was beautiful because it just, we were blending into what I was already doing. That was and those 2 weight sessions, that's what I call them in my head, our full body sessions.
Yeah, yeah.
They they were the thing that made things start to happen. Like, my body
Okay.
responds very well to movement. I feel very fortunate in that respect, and I do notice, changes quite quickly. That was massive. And there was another thing. Oh, just actually having a calorie goal
Yeah.
and sticking to it. Who would have thought?
Yeah. It's that
It was your
consistency element.
accountability though on that. Was I knew to do that, I just wasn't doing it.
Yeah, and I think that was something as well that we had the conversation when you first started. It was that you knew what to do. Like, you weren't a stranger to exercise. Like, you'd lost weight before. Like, you know what to do, but you just weren't doing it. Like, and it
Mm,
was the how do we get you to do it? And like part of that was just the accountability of having someone else there to say, do this. I'm doing the thinking for you. You don't need to do it. But I think the other part of it was the decomplicating of the process of just being like, right, we need to focus on doing 2 weight sessions per week. We want to get steps to 8,000, which is nothing crazy. Like you said, you were doing basically 6,000 on your low days, 12,000 on your high days. So it was the working it to make the most sense for you, like, and working it to, yeah, make it so you could be consistent.
absolutely. And I remember at one point even saying to you, like, I think this was after a few months, but even still, is it worth putting in another weight session? Will it get the results quicker? Because you always reach that point at one, but at
Yeah.
one stage, like, I just want this to be a bit faster. And you were like, yeah, we can do that if you want, but do you have time for that? And that's exactly what I needed to hear. I was like, no, no, I don't. Thank you. Pull me back. What we're doing is working. The science is working. Let's just keep on keeping on. And it's not even just accountability. It's more just that sense check, that little reality check. You provide that too. So that was massive.
I think as well, like having those realistic conversations is so important because if you're saying like, okay, well, right now I'm doing 5 sessions per week, like we said at the start, like if I'd have then said, right, well, let's keep you doing your 5 Pilates sessions and add another 2 sessions on, you'd be like, absolutely not. That might have
Yes.
lasted for about 2 weeks, but after that, like it just wouldn't have stuck. And then like there, it was okay. Well, let's take the 2 Pilates out, add 2 weight sessions in, and then when we were like, well, do we add an extra weight session in? But actually, the Pilates sessions were slightly shorter. They were slightly easier because you didn't have to faff around with dumbbells and switching the weights out. So we were
Yes.
like, we're getting the minimum effective dose in terms of the weight. The amount that we would gain from it it was almost like we did a cost benefit analysis. The cost of adding it back in just wasn't worth it, like, of adding that third workout in. Sometimes you need to have those conversations and go, well, in this season of your life, it's not worth it. But then we've actually, as time's moved on, we've actually ended up, one, moving you to the gym and doing gym workouts rather than home workouts, and two, adding a third session in, like, and changing it now down to 2 Pilates sessions per week and 3 gym sessions. So do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like, what was the reason for the
Yeah.
shift?
Yeah. I love my Pilates sessions. I love the app. I have the subscription through, but I was wanting the more.
Yeah.
Is the best way to put it. And you were great in with my last program. We threw in the extra session, but it was a bonus one. It was an option for Pilates or gym because I'd signed up to the gym by that point, and I could choose what suited me that week too. And I think that was magic because and that was my we were still doing the program based as if it was home gym. So it was a lot of dumbbells, but that one session was the machines. So that was like my playground session. So you made this a novelty for me too. I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
want to go play on the machines. This is fun. And so, yeah, it's just the way it was brought in. We did it staged. It was optional and it was made to be fun as a result too. That I, make it a playground for me and I'm there.
Yeah, and exactly as you said there, and I think that's sometimes why it's important that we don't go in all guns blazing when we first start, and like that's why the
Yeah.
small changes at the start are so important because we can then inject novelty later on because we've not gone in and pulled out all the tools and pulled out all the stops. I remember we had a conversation like really early on about your weight, and I said something like, "It's fine. We've got a lot of tools left in the toolbox to pull." Like I was like, "If this lever, we pull this lever and it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. Like we can pull this other lever and we can keep doing this. There's still lots and lots of things to maneuver. And like if we go out and we pull all the tools out first off, like all the levers have been pulled, we're going off, like we're trying everything all at once. One, you end up overwhelmed. Two, you end up burnt out. And three, we end up with nothing left to like play with or like to inject novelty. Whereas because we started off with 2 sessions at home, and then we started off by saying, right, let's add the optional gym session in, or let's then start going to the gym, add an optional gym session in, start doing things on machines that you've never done before. Okay, now we have 3 workouts that you do at the gym that integrate machines and integrate dumbbells and integrate everything that we've been practicing for the last year, but have built on what you've been doing. And like
Yeah.
that's allowed for us to keep it fresh and keep it entertaining and keep it novel. So like, although that seems incredibly structured in the way that we've done it, it's actually kept it like liberatingly free. Like, so
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Yeah, I completely agree. Novelty is definitely an underrated tool, and
yeah.
you did it effortlessly.
And I think that's something that's so important here because a lot of the time people say, well, how am I going to sustain this for a year? And like you have been effectively, we basically finished your weight loss journey a year from the like date that we started.
Yeah, yeah.
And the one thing about that is like you have been incredibly consistent for the last year. But I think that's because there has also been changes within the last year. You've not been doing the identical like same thing. It's not been the same gym workouts. It's not been the same like the same calories. Like we've changed lots and lots of factors, and we've done it in several different like we pulled out different again pulled those different tools out. So it's just meant that you've had novelty within the last 12 months. It's not just been a one size fits all, like we just went at it and then we ran at the wall and did the same thing for 12 months. It's been different ways of like, yeah, you've had different measures of progress throughout that time as well. Like the getting to the gym has been a measure of progress. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
important to go like it's going to be a long journey and that's okay. And weight loss might be a long journey, but that doesn't mean one, it has to be boring, and two, it has to literally be the same thing that you did on day one.
That's right, and it's really turned into a bit of a science experiment too. And it's probably always been that, but I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
Like hitting maintenance now, because obviously maintenance can be a scary place to be, and never, I've never been here. I've always been trying to lose weight, always.
Mhm.
Even when I was teaching classes, I was still trying to lose weight. Now it's like this is fun, jumping on the scales every day. What are you going to tell me today? Oh, you're cranky at me today, are you? Okay, cool. Log the numbers, off we go. Like it's fun. It's fun
Mhm.
hitting. I mean, I love a checklist. I love being able to hit off. I've done something, so the app I find fantastic. But all of the data collection is fascinating, and I love when it acts predictably. We're like, oh, she's stuck. You're going to drop it a few days, and then it does. Like
And
it's
that's
fun.
the thing, like, and I think again that highlights why collecting so much data is useful. So
Yes.
like what you were referencing there is like we can literally we've seen on your scales and we would like message each other and I'd be like, right, you're gonna drop tomorrow. Like we can see that this is gonna happen because you'd have had like 3 or 4 days where you just scale weight hadn't moved. But we could basically predict that it was gonna move tomorrow because we'd got 10 months, 11 months worth of data behind it to go, basically this happens. Or like when your period arrives, we then end up with this. We have 3 to 4 days where it looks like this. And it just becomes so predictable. And I think at first people can be quite scared of collecting like data and like having all that information. But the more information that you can collect, the more informed you become about your body. And then exactly like that, you realize that your body's actually pretty predictable. Like your
Yeah.
body is working in the same cycles over and over again. So like, yeah, like just being able to understand those things is so important.
I think it adds to the novelty as well, to be honest. Like, obviously, there's a level of predictability, and then it's like fun. It's like, oh, I knew you were going to catch up, buddy. Or, what are
Yeah.
you doing? And you can have conversations with yourself. I just, yeah, it's quite entertaining to collect the data as well. Doing the measurements, and you're like, why are the measurements not changing at all? But then look at the physique, and it's like everything's changing.
Yeah, for
Something's.
sure. And
I think it's
that's
all
why having
fascinating.
measurements, scales, photos is all
Yeah.
really important. Let's talk through those. Let's talk through some of the stats
Mm.
then. So how much weight have you lost over the last 12 months?
We got it down to, it was just under the 20 kilo mark, wasn't it? Just
Yeah.
under. And then went on a cruise, went on a holiday for 2 weeks. Not sure
Yeah.
that's the best way to come out of a weight loss phase.
Not typically how I recommend that we do it, but like, sometimes needs more stuff. Yeah.
Went in Rome, but now we are sitting just under 18 kilos
Uh-huh.
from the lost stage. Amazing in my mind. Never,
Yeah. And like
yeah.
at that point, if I just do some quick maths,
Mm.
we started about there, divide that by 20 divided by that. Yeah, so you've lost about 25% of your body weight, like,
Yeah.
which is a huge achievement. So just one thing for context here is when you look in like the weight loss literature and people talk about losing weight and keeping it off, most of the literature only ever looks at people that have lost 10% of their body weight. Like, so 10% of your body weight is like, it doesn't feel like much, but it can be like quite substantial. But when we're talking about weight loss like this, where you've lost 20 kg, a couple of kg, literally no one is going to lose any sleep over. Like, and the first thing to note here is that, like, for you, most of what was increased there after the cruise was literally just your muscles had filled back out,
Yeah.
your internal stores of energy had increased. So if you've ever heard me talk about glycogen before, it is literally just the increasing of like your stored energy within your muscles. And when that happens, you store a little bit of water, which means that the scales go up, and they can go up by about 3 kg. So that hence why you saying like 2 kg there, I'm literally like, nah, we
It's
don't need to
whatever.
worry about, because you were literally at your emptiest and then we filled everything back up again. So that's something just to remember. And the thing that we also look at is photos. So if we can look at the photos for you pre-cruise to like post-cruise, basically, we could see that there was literally like no change. Like, this wasn't a case of like you
Yeah,
put on 2 kilograms of fat. Like, it was a case of like, yeah, like you just filled out a little bit, like muscles are looking a bit stronger, like great. Um, so
exactly.
yeah, like,
Tummy's
and
a
this is
little
why
bit
it's
fuller.
exactly, yeah, and this is why it's just a little bit. This is why it's important to look at your body and like understand and have these different measures, and not just equate everything down to the scales. And I think that's so important when we're coming out of maintenance, when we're coming into maintenance, sorry, that we understand that we're working towards more than just a scale weight now, and we're working towards feelings, and we're working towards understanding what our body is doing and how you should feel in your body, and that weight fluctuations happen, and that, like, if you are growing muscle, your weight may increase, but it doesn't mean you've gained body fat, and that's why we need photos to measure. And yeah, like, I think just seeing maintenance as its own phase is important. So yeah, but that's on to the next point. Let's continue talking about your weight loss then. What was the thing that I guess you found trickiest about the weight loss?
It was interestingly the calories, the nutrition, which I found quite surprising because I love to cook. I have one of a huge recipe bank. The one reason I'll never delete my Instagram is the amount of recipes I've got saved. um, and I know what to cook. And all the things, I make the right choices, but I wasn't sticking to it, or I was sticking to it. Breakfast and lunch, but then dinner I'd have it. As you know, we like to eat out in my family, or we like to dine in. Really trying to work on that a bit more. We've gotten better, but there was once upon a time, every time I do the food shop, I buy myself a treat with the food shopping.
Mhm.
Every weekend I buy myself a big bag of Maltese. I haven't eaten a big bag of Maltesers for months, and there was a period when I was eating at least one a week, particularly with stress from work. My gorgeous husband he'd bring me Maltesers and he'd just put them on my desk next to me while I'm working. I was sabotaging myself by those things. Yeah, chocolate,
Yeah.
chocolate, chocolate treaties.
Yeah. And I think that's really key, because you mentioned a few things that like emotional eating, like, and just like
Oh yeah,
stress-based eating. And it was the like your well-intended husband bringing you Maltesers, like bless his heart, first off. But like second off, like it's the things that you don't necessarily realize are sabotaging you. And like, actually, to stop that from happening, that then required a conversation with your husband where you were like, actually, can you stop bringing me Maltesers, please? That's that's not helping. But like, that then comes down to setting boundaries. And I think when we go into weight loss, we think it's about calories in versus calories out, which it is. But it's about so much more than that. It's about the routines, the habits, the boundaries that you have, the like self-sabotaging behaviors like emotional eating, like the coping mechanisms that you have. So like, actually, over the last year, we've worked on those. Like, we've worked on you being able to manage your day to day, manage your time, making sure that when like your kids' clubs come up and like things are changing, you're able to navigate moving pieces that little bit easier as well. So yeah, like, and I 100% agree. I think food is like one of those things that makes the biggest difference. But as you said, you've been out for pretty much a meal out probably every other week, maybe every week. I mean, sometimes it was like 2 to 3 times a week, and we were like, Emma.
there was one
um,
week when there was every single day of the week. That was a bad week. No, it was actually a
yeah.
very good week. We were celebrating, but we celebrated a bit too hard.
But like, within the context, we found the ways to make that work and actually make that like, yeah, make that make sense. And yeah, like as you said, this is sometimes a case of having a word with yourself and saying we need to not eat out every single night, but then sometimes it's also when we need to live life, and that's been a, to be honest, I would rather it take you a year to lose 20 kg than a like, and still have been able to live your life within that year and enjoy it, than it take you 6 months to lose 20 kg, but you hated every single minute of the 6 months, because now you've got more skills around navigating meals out, navigating stress, navigating anything, like, so you are able to just handle things that bit better.
Absolutely, because my default when I used to get stressed is straight for the chocolate. Especially like I'd notice it in the morning. If I want to eat chocolate straight after breakfast, I know now that is when I'm stressed. So now if I feel that way, which doesn't happen very often anymore because we've got my morning routine solid with my food, which is great, and my water, I just grab another cup of tea, and that keeps me over, and then it distracts me enough until I've moved past the wave of needing the chocolate.
Yeah.
But you know what the really big thing too about what we've learned together is, because the bit I struggled with was the calories, is it was the realization of how I don't want this to sound really bad, how little calories I actually need or to
Mm,
support my body. Like 2,000 is not little. Like, I'm not saying that, but when you're eating a bag of Maltesers that is, let's say, I don't even know, over 1,000 calories, plus you're having all your meals during the day, that's way, that's like, we're talking 2.5 to 3,000 calories. So it's like, you almost have to have a slight like death of the old life to, when you realize, "Oh, I actually don't need that much." And it's the re-education around that comes with the consistency,
yeah.
and I
And
feel
like
good about it now.
exactly as you said there as well, like it's the death of the old life. Like you've got to there's sometimes you've got to hit this point where you accept that you can't go back to these behaviors, like you can't go back, you need new strategies. So
Yes.
sometimes asking yourself, like if you are finding that you are self-sabotaging quite frequently and you're thinking, why am I doing this, what is coming up, asking yourself, like, am I afraid to let go, like am I afraid to let go of these previous identities, and like listen to yourself when you talk to yourself and see where you have like I am statements. So like I
Yeah.
am an emotional eater. All right, well, if you're telling yourself you're an emotional eater, do you think when you get emotional you're gonna eat? Probably. Like I am whatever, like you will start to prove to yourself you are the thing that you're saying that you are. So if you like even just shifting things like, oh, I have experienced emotional eating, I have done this, I have found that when I get stressed I do this, and change it into actions feel a lot easier to change than like statements, like facts and identity things. So just make it into the easiest thing to shift basically, and then you'll find it a lot easier. But exactly as you said there, like being prepared to give up that old identity to allow for the new thing to come in is really important. And I find that's something that people struggle with, and it usually happens at around the 10 kg down mark, is that
Yeah.
people will have a crisis at about 10 kg down, and then they will not be able to get to the second lot of their weight loss, especially like most people have a 20 kg 3 stone 4 stone goal, but like they're not able to get to that second point because they're not prepared to give up the old identity. So
Yeah.
just being so aware and like in tune with yourself on that one is really important. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's reminding yourself too, you don't have like, yes, you're giving up the doing that old identity all the time, the consistently, but it doesn't mean every now and again I can't sit there and eat a whole bag, which I don't want to, because
Yeah.
we've rewired everything now. Like, I would rather eat my treat that I make that I know is better for me, that's still delicious. And guess what? I get to tick my little box that I did the thing, which,
Yeah.
makes me happy.
For sure. And like you'd also mentioned there as well about like how few calories you get in a day. And again, that is so context dependent on a body. Like I think we're very much
Agreed.
sold this idea that like you should eat 2,000 calories within a day. If you ate 2,000 calories within a day and was doing the exercise that you did when we first started, you'd
Oh, that'd be
be
bad.
above maintenance. Like, so it's really important that we understand context and we understand calories, and we don't take your calories personally. Like that's kind of the whole gist of it, is if you can actually just understand your body has been that science experiment, that makes it a
Yeah.
lot easier to not take it personally when you're like, oh well, actually I can only eat 1,600 calories to lose weight. I need to drop down to 1,500 calories to lose weight. I need to eat 1,400 calories to lose weight. Especially if you are shorter, like your calorie numbers are going to be a lot lower compared to someone who is taller and bigger. Like, so it's just really important to, again, understand context in which you exist. So when Emma says that, like, actually she was eating 1,000 calories, she was eating more than half her daily calories in Maltesers. Like that is a context problem. So
That
yeah,
is a
like
context problem.
yeah. But like understanding that and understanding that about your body, I think is so key, and like you understand that so well.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I think that's something that you do really well, is that you don't take your nutrition personally. Like you are like, no, I understand that I can't eat 2,000 calories every single day and do zero exercise, and I will and I will maintain my weight. I'm not this vacuum that changes.
No, it doesn't serve me to do those things, and so I love me for that.
Yeah,
I know how I wanna feel and how I wanna look as well, but mostly how I wanna feel, and if I wanna feel the way I wanna feel, then the data's gotta work.
for sure.
I love all of this. I've learned more, honestly, doing the coaching with you than I did when I started doing my Cert for a nutrition, which I didn't finish. But I've learned more doing this and being the experience of it than
Mm.
learning the detail and the science behind it. So this has been great.
Honestly, like, there are some things that I do and I was like, "Oh, that's so funny." I've always done that, like, on like, by instinct, like, and I've done that, like, by accident, and then I realized when I've been researching, like, about the habits of weight loss maintainers, and I was like, "Huh." I was like, "The science backs up what I was doing, but I wasn't doing it because of the science, I was doing it because it felt good." And, like, it's so interesting.
Yes.
It's really affirming to know that you are doing the things that, like, help, but, like, sometimes just understanding the why behind it then just helps to reinforce the behaviors, so, yeah. No, but,
Yeah.
like, for sure, that is great. And what for you then do you feel like has been your biggest breakthrough or your biggest light bulb moment of the last year?
Oh, I like that question. Honestly, consistency over perfection. Your voice is in my head all the time. And I know you talk about it all the time too on your socials and on your podcast and everything, but I hear you all the time in my head. Consistency over perfection. We actually so at my work, we have questions every week for the team to get to know each other because we're all over the country. And it's a different question every week. And one of them recently was, what was some of the best advice you've ever been given? And I said that consistency over perfection. It's ingrained in my brain because, and again, we've got the data to back it up. I've had weeks before when I've done no training at all. I've done my steps, I've done my calories, but I've not done the training part, and the data, everything's held. And in fact, the weight still kept coming down. Even it might have been slightly a bit slower, maybe, but it was still working. It's not about the things that you do or don't do on the one occasion or the one week. It's what you're doing all the time that makes up who you are. And that has been massive because you talk about it sometimes, you know, you can have a bad day and think, I'm going to just push the fuck it button and I don't care anymore. I don't do that anymore.
Mhm.
I haven't done that for at all since I've worked with you, since we're working together. So it's, yeah, actually that and rate of return. Those two are massive. And credit you for my rate of return is incredible. And I wear that proudly now because I know, like, when I got back from the cruise, the day we flew home, I was straight back into the gym the next day and on my calories on my steps. Next
Yeah.
day, wasn't feeling the best, but I did because I knew that's what I needed to do. And again, it's the consistency thing.
Mhm.
They
You
were
know,
my
for
biggest
example,
things.
what you can do over time, like, and if you can get back, and
Yes.
if you fall off, the rate that you can get back to it, like how fast you can get back to it, perfect. Like that is literally all you need to do. Like if you can focus on consistency over perfection, and you can get back on track, like as soon as you can, perfect. Like, and that will be how, like, that is how people lose weight and keep it off. Like, it's just that you can do the things consistently, and there's no magic trick to it. It's just when you fall back, or when you fall off the horse, you get back on it. Like,
Yeah.
and like the idea is that with the consistency mindset is that you don't fall as far. Like that's the
Yeah.
idea. So like if you can bring both of those concepts in, you are more than like in a good enough position to sort yourself out for the long term. But yeah, no,
Absolutely.
and that's so good. Like that consistency over perfection mindset is just like me yelling at you, yeah, just all the time.
I use it for all my life now though too. Like, so I struggle maintaining my house, work full time. I'm trying to do these things. And I'm not a homemaker. I want to be, but I'm not a great one. But I use it in that context too. Consistency over perfection, Emma. Just sweep the floor. Okay. And
Yeah.
if we do that consistently, it's looking better already. Like it's useful everywhere. I use it in the work context too now. So it's, yeah, they've been major light bulbs. But one of my other favorite phrases of yours is, you are not a bin.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
We actually use that in my house. My husband says it too now. I do not need to finish this just because it's here. I am not a bin.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I do not have to finish it because it is in front of me. You are not a dustbin. Like you do not have to eat it. Like, and that's
Yes.
something that I have to tell myself because I am the same. Like I really hate food waste, and the amount of
Yes.
food noise that I get if there is food in front of me and it's not being eaten. Jules is the worst for this, right? So she will leave like a portion out in front of her, and she'll be like, "Oh, that's nice," and we'll just leave it in the middle of the table, and I'm like eyeing it up, and I can't concentrate, and it will be like playing a game, and I can't concentrate on the fact that the box of chocolates is up. Like that's all I'm focusing on. The box of chocolates is open, so I'm
Yeah.
like, nope, this needs to be put away, and like I have to like take this away because otherwise I would literally just turn into a dustbin and empty all of this food like into my
That's
mouth right
right.
now.
And it's usually when you're actually painfully full. You have gotten beyond that point when you usually try to stop that 70, 80% full, whatever. Um, and yeah, you're right. That food noise is massive, but I am not a bin. And
Yeah.
it doesn't serve me to force it into myself. So it can go in the actual bin or it can go in the fridge.
And this is the thing, most things make leftovers, like, even if it's that you have
Yes.
leftover portion tomorrow and you have that as a bit of more of an eclectic lunch, and, like,
Yeah.
if you're someone who's now thinking, and I can hear the voices because this is exactly what I'd say is, "Yeah, but then you can't track it accurately." It doesn't matter, that's where you then use the build your plate method, and you give it your best, you do the next best thing, and you track it like, as you can, and that technique works really well, especially when you've done something like had a takeaway, because we often get into this mindset of going, "Oh, well, if I contain this takeaway to this evening and I eat all the 2,000 calories of this takeaway
Yeah.
right now, and then I just get straight back on it tomorrow, it doesn't like, oh, it doesn't matter as much. That would be better than splitting this between today and tomorrow. No, actually, if you just split the calories over time, it's a lot better. So again, like you don't have to finish everything off. You don't have to be a dustbin. You can make things into leftovers and just use that the next day. And then if you do, like, say you have some strange collections of food left, that's when you use the build your plate method and you go, right, okay, well, this is some weird, we've got like lentil dal. I'll use that as the example. We've got lentil dal, so that will be falling into the carbohydrate section of like today's dinner. And then we'll also have some that I now just need to find some protein to have, and then potentially some vegetables to go with it so that we can add that in. And then there we go, job done. Like it's about understanding that if you can get creative with stuff, nothing needs to be perfect. Like it doesn't have to be perfectly tracked. If you can do good enough is sometimes what you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about like your journey kind of like going forward. So I mentioned like for now like we've hit your goal weight, like or we've hit where you wanted to be. And we've now moved into maintenance. What for you do you foresee for like the next 6 months? What do you want to work on next?
Definitely the body composition side of things. So, I mean, I'm love building the muscle to build the shape that we want to see. Um, my all the respect to my body. I got a bit of a funny shape in I'm just hippie. I'm just hippie, which is noticeable when I'm so little. And so it's building some definition around that, which is really exciting. And it forms part of this science experiment is let's do the input so we can see the output. And I know it's going to take time and that's all fine. I'm not in a rush, but it's how, because you get the dopamine hit of how it feels along the way and
Yeah.
feeling like as you feel yourself getting stronger, it's oh yeah, all the feels. That's what yeah, the composition side, but that it's I enjoy the training. I enjoy pushing my
Okay.
body and seeing like that experiment too. How can we go heavier? How's my form feeling? And it's improving all of those things. It's like project me.
The thing is like you obviously mentioned something there that's like the output in terms of the body composition, but actually the
Mm.
thing that you were most excited about when you were saying there is the inputs. Like for you,
It's the
you have just
journey.
fallen in love with the journey, and like that's what's so important is that like these are behaviors that are much easier to sustain when you enjoy them. Like people often say like how do you get motivated? Like it's you do something that you enjoy, you find a way that it's like you are competent at it, but it is also a little bit of a challenge, and it aligns with what your goals are and it aligns with what your values are. And like for you, it just ticks all of the boxes, which makes it just incredibly easy for you to sustain them. And like
That's
that's
it.
the thing, like if you can just do things that help you feel motivated, you'll feel more motivated and it makes it a lot easier to stick to.
That's right. And yeah, it's I hadn't really thought about it before that I'm very I guess I'm quite lucky at the minute that the journey part is the bit that excites me the most because like
Yeah.
often people will focus on the end result and if it's not happening quick enough that's when we get disappointed or we fall off track. I like the experiment. I like this whole process. It's fun. It's just got
I
to keep being fun.
I think that's such a useful like mindset to go into this with. And if you take anything from this episode, just like if you could adopt that mindset that this is an experiment and this is like exciting that you get to try these things out, that is literally the best thing that you can do because it opens you up to like it allows you to approach this without criticism for yourself, and it allows you to approach this so neutrally around your body, but also for it to be exciting. Like I get to test this out, I get to see if this works, and if this doesn't work, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean that you have failed. It means that the science experiment that you ran didn't provide the outcome that you thought. And it just allows for you to be much more neutral around it as well, and like see it as for what it is. Like it's a nice experiment on your body. It's not anything to do with your morality, how you are as a person, like who you are as a person. All of that comes down to like other stuff, and your weight is not involved in it.
Yeah, and I think it's worth mentioning too, like this is all fun and all of the things, but it's because we've got a plan as well.
Mhm.
Like I'm not just going into the gym half cocked doing a different program or workout every day. Like we've got a plan and that's part of what makes this fun. We've got our input that we know we need to get our data to see
Yeah.
what output we end up with. And that's what's fun. And it's doing it collaboratively. If I was
Yeah.
doing this solo at the moment, I don't know if it would be as fun. In fact, I no, I don't, it would not be.
Yeah.
Doing it though collaboratively, that's the benefit of the coach. It's not just the accountability. It's we're working on this project together. It's like a science project at school. Only I get
And
to
I
rely on you a little bit and I don't have to think about things.
Exactly, like, and it's that you can switch off on the bits that you wanna switch off on, but, like, for
Yes.
me, I'm hoping you agree with this, but the way that I coach is very much like, "All right, here's what my plan is, here's the science behind what we're doing, what do you think? Like, does that sound like that well, you could do that in your life?" Because ultimately, you need to have the autonomy over it because it's you that's doing it. So,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
yeah, like, I very much work in, like, that collaborative way where I'm like, "I will guide you in the right direction, but I can't do this for you. You've gotta feel excited enough that you are prepared to go out and do your steps. You've gotta feel like you can at least I can give you all the tools that you need. We can help build structures out, but, like, at the end of the day, this is about you. I can't walk the walk for you. I can't eat the food for you." Like, that's where, like, giving you the power and the autonomy over this is so important because at the end of the day, if this is something that you wanna sustain for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 plus years, you need to know how to make decisions and be confident in making decisions around your health and fitness, and this way you are. Like,
Yeah.
you can make the decisions for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what would you say to anybody that was thinking about starting this journey? Like, say they were thinking about either working with me or like just starting their weight loss journey. What would the best piece of advice be that you got?
Honestly, I would just start, just do it. I keep thinking the words, the time's going to pass anyway.
Mm,
And I don't know why that keeps landing so much for me because I heard somebody say it a year ago, but the time's going to pass anyway. Why wait?
yeah. Yeah.
Especially if it's something that's on your mind or on your heart that you want for yourself, or I was feeling disconnected from my physical body. I don't feel that way anymore. Like, as soon as you start to build some muscle, it's like, oh, hello. Oh, we're friends. We're friends. We hang out together. And so, yeah, it just start. I was actually talking to my mum about this on my drive home today, but don't go hell for leather like I tried to do and walk 12,000 steps a day and think that's okay, because guess what? My feet hurt. They were not
Yeah.
ready for that. And that's what you taught me. But start realistic and then start building that habit. But also I'd say if you can afford it and make it work, get a coach, get Holly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here if I hadn't. I would not have got the results by myself. Even if I
Yeah.
joined a challenge or a subscription or something else, I would not have got here without your support. So I'm a
It's
major advocate for that.
Ew, perfect.
Welcome.
But it's sometimes we've got to have these like that accountability, and having that accountability outside of yourself is so useful. But having that accountability with someone that you trust and you are prepared to be open with, like that is invaluable. And like whether like if you want to get a coach, like whether you work with me or you work with someone else, like do that with someone that you feel like you can trust and you can work with and work collaboratively with, because at the end of the day, like it's not about you necessarily having control of every single element, but you need to feel empowered in your journey, and you need to feel like you know what's going on and why you're doing the things, and that makes you feel good within the way that you're doing this. Because yeah, that's what's key, is that you feel good about this, not just now but for the long run.
I agree. And that's why I loved that we before we started work together, we had that initial call. Because I mean, I'd gotten to know you through your socials and like that side of it, but talking to you like face to face can be a little bit different. But I love talking to you. It's so easy. It's effortless. It's like we're friends. We are friends.
Yeah.
I consider us friends now.
Yeah.
But that's it. You need a coach who you feel like that with, but also who will be like, Emma, I'm going to call you out there. No.
Yeah.
And you did that. You said that to me once when I was like, oh, I couldn't do the session today. So I saw you like, Emma, no. You could have next best thing. You could have done part of the session. You could have done
Yeah.
that. And I thought, oh, okay.
Yeah, right, fine, I could have done it.
Okay, I could have. But that's it. But you need somebody to hold you to that standard. But yeah, like you said, it's got to be someone you respect and someone you like. If you don't
Mhm.
like the person, I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Like, especially like the way that I coach. So we have like a
Yeah.
monthly call together where we're sitting down for like 30 minutes and having a chat. If you don't like me, that call's not going to go very well. Like,
So, I've got to talk to Holly now and make up stuff for half an hour so she leaves me alone.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want you to be thinking, I want this girl to get off my back. I want you to be thinking, like, I'm really glad I'm being held accountable to this. So, like, again, this is a journey where you've got to it's you that's got to do the stuff. Like I can help guide you along the way, but like I can't do the gym for you. Like like you
That's
need to
right.
make the steps. And like Emma, you've just done such a good job of that. Like of just using the guidance and using that, but also using me as a sounding board and just going, I'm thinking about doing this, and I'm like, yeah, no, don't do that. Or like, I'm thinking about doing this and that. That's a great idea. Let's integrate that this and this way, and we're going to make these changes, and let's integrate the gym like this. And it's just meant that we've done the things that you want to do, but at the right pace and
Yeah.
in the right way.
100%, 100%. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have you. So 100% go a coach.
For
Get it
sure.
done quicker. Get it done quicker and make your life easier.
For sure. So just to round this off, and a question that I ask everybody, and I just love to hear the answers, but what does being healthy mean to you?
Healthy for me is a very holistic approach. It's the mind, body, and the soul part too. Obviously with the body, it's not just physical, like, oh, you're healthy, your blood looks good. It's like it's how it feels in itself as well, and how you look or what you weigh. All of those things, they're data. They're not the metric of what healthy is. Healthy is how you feel in yourself. And obviously if we've got extra fat around our organs, that's not great. That's probably not too healthy. So it's finding that equilibrium that's perfect for you with the mind, body, and the soul. Because you can flog yourself at the gym and make, have the perfect figure. But if that's making your brain a mess, that doesn't work. Your mind's a shambles. And if it doesn't make you happy, that's not fulfilling your soul. So to me, it's like it's a whole circle. That was a
I
bit of
think
a
that's so
ramble, wasn't
important.
it?
Yeah, no, that's like so important. And that goes back to the point I made about values. Like is it filling your soul? Like if it's value aligned, like you will be motivated to do it. And that's like, if it feels like it's filling your soul, like if for you say like, oh, I know spending time with your family is such an important part of your like week. So if we were like, right, you are going to go to the gym and you are going to spend 7 hours in the gym, you're going to be doing it like this really long workout, and you're going to be like, yeah, but then I don't get to see my kids. Like, and then like I'm up until like I'm missing them, I'm not getting them, or like I'm then going to bed really late, which means that I'm then not feeling ready for work, and I'm not feeling like this and this. It's just conflicting with my other goals in life. And then like it's just about making sure everything is aligned. And like when you have that like that soul element, those values elements, that I think that is a cherry on top for health as well. Like I think that's so important that you do those things, because yeah, it makes sure that you can actually stick to them for the long term.
It's actually one big thing I also learned from you too is when you did your New Year's resolutions training session. It was really, really good. But you pointed out you've got to start with your values, because if your values don't align with what your goals are going to fall. And that's really stuck with me. I was like, oh, that's why I do what I do. And that's why one of the reasons that the calories thing I think has always been a difficult consistency thing, because I do like spending time with the family, and we do that with food quite often. We're trying to move into other things as well to make that a bit easier. But if we go out to dinner, and I've said this to you many times, I'm not going to order the salad just because that fits my calories that day. I will eat the food that makes me happy in the
Mhm.
environment that I'm in. It's the values thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's filling that soul cup up, and that's where you everything's just got to tie together. Otherwise, you're not healthy. You're just obsessive.
Yeah. As we've spoken about before, but with your kids, we've been like, you want to be that healthy role model for your kids,
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean that you then give up like pizza. That doesn't mean that you give up burgers. Like that means that sometimes when you go out, you have pizza and you have burgers. Like it's about that context, because if you didn't, then in those times you'd be like, well, actually, I'm going against my values because I'm not showing my kids what healthy looks like. Healthy is about that balance. It's about understanding that there are times where pizza is appropriate. Like there are times
Yes.
that you will do this, like, and there are times where like life's going to hit the fan and we've got to just do what we can do, but still make the next best thing choice. And like showing that to your kids, I think for me, like it's, can we create a culture where we are doing better than what our mums potentially gave us?
Oh
Because like
yeah.
diet culture was so rife in the 80s and the 90s, and then growing up like within any of that like time period in the 2000s as well, like any of that time period, it's showing like if you've got kids now, like just being that example of just being like, look, you can lose weight, like losing weight is fine if you want to lose weight, but you don't have to do it by starving yourself, only eating this, cutting out carbohydrates or whatever.
Absolutely, absolutely. We definitely don't want our kids growing up the way we did. And the brown food diet, like that was the standard diet in the world when I grew up. Sausage, chips, and beans. Fish fingers, chips and beans. Chicken nuggets, chips and beans. That was dinner every night.
I don't know what you're on about. You get the key food groups in there. You get protein and carbs.
Where's the fibre, man?
Yeah. Well, the beans. I was going with the baked beans. Definitely
Well, the
on the
beans,
fibre.
yeah. Okay, okay. No vegetables though. Like veggies
Yeah,
were a
decisive
Sunday
lack of
roast.
vegetables. Yeah. But
Yeah.
exactly as you said, like just creating that culture where you are seeing nutritious food around your kids and like proving to your kids that like healthy is eating nutritious food, but healthy is also eating pizza sometimes. Like and yeah, like having that, showing them that like life is about balance and it's about that whole holistic view, exactly as you said, and healthy is that holistic view.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Oh,
Emma,
yeah.
thank you so much for coming on. If anybody has any questions, are you happy for them to just like drop you a message on Instagram if they have like a question about like either working with me or about your weight loss journey? Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. My
Perfect.
handle it's Emma F Milton.
Perfect. So if you have any questions for Emma and you're just like, yep, cool, I want to know more about working with Holly or I want to know more about Emma's weight loss journey, drop her a message. But otherwise, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. Please make sure that you give it a 5-star rating or review because obviously it was a 5-star episode. And if it's anything lower than that, we're not interested, don't want to hear about it.
Absolutely.
Have a fantastic rest of day and I will catch you in the next one.